I skip the intro when I'm with the guests.
Yeah,
Like it just kills the show. I'll do it another time.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Welcome to this week's show.
Awesome.
We're here with John Jessup, Dream Ride Side John. I guess you want to introduce yourself, tell people what you're all about, who you are.
My name is John Jessup. I have Dream Rides. We're in Stockton, California, Maryville, Tennessee, and we have an e-commerce brand.
So that's something I wanted to ask you. There's a lot of questions I have for you, but I didn't want to get too into it at dinner and everything. I was wondering if you guys if you still have the location in California.
Yeah. So my younger brother, Tom, it's pretty much his shop.
Okay.
I'm there to advise and make sure, everything goes smoothly, but I mean, it's pretty much hands off for me, and it's pretty much his baby.
Uh-huh.
And then my brother-in-law also is out there, and we're partners on the bike sales stuff. So, he's doing the bike sales out there, and my brother's doing the service and repair, and yeah, we're still rocking and rolling in California.
Cool. So is that actually two separate buildings, or that all goes on under one roof?
All under one roof. We have
similar to what's going on here.
Yeah, same as here. The way I organize my business is service and repair is one business, and bike sales is a separate business.
Okay.
So even though it's under the same roof, for the customers, it really doesn't matter. It's just for accounting and really trying to figure out what profit centers and all that. That's just how I chose to do it.
Right.
So.
That's cool. We don't need the details of your business.
Yeah, it's whatever. No
just come in and buy the bike. That's the important part.
Come buy a bike.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you enjoy the service end of things more or the sales end?
Man, I enjoy it all.
Okay.
So, my background is I was a parts guy at Harley, opened my own shop, and like many shop owners, when you first start, you think you're a good wrench or whatever, and you find out owning a motorcycle shop, is 10% wrenching and 90% other stuff.
Yeah.
And you can be the best talented wrench in the world. Doesn't mean you can run a bike shop. There's two different things.
Yeah.
But I we're in my shop here at home, I love to wrench. There's nothing I love more than to wrench. When you're wrenching on a bike, you're just focused on one thing. Being a service rider, you got to be focused on 7 or 8 things at once at minimum.
Yep.
A shop owner, you're thinking about 50 things at once. I love buying bikes. I love selling bikes. So I love the deal. You know what I mean? I love that shit.
Yeah.
To be honest, anything motorcycles, I love it all.
That's kind of why I asked you which one you like better. Because for me, I love that hunt, like that chase to find bikes and then flip them and whatever. That's just as much fun as fucking.
No, it is.
I love it.
I love building something like this.
Yeah.
Love it. I love working on motorcycles is therapeutic. You know what I mean? Because you can just, you're not thinking. It's the same as riding bikes, right?
Right.
You're riding a bike. You shouldn't be thinking about nothing but, hey, this next corner, what you're doing. You're focused.
Yeah.
Same thing when I'm wrenching on a bike like this, or I'm building something. It's taking all of my focus and putting it right on a dot.
Right.
Rather than, my daily business or my daily, habits or whatever is I'm being pulled 500 different directions all day, every day.
Right. That's a rare thing too. Like getting back to what you said, for this industry particularly, I see it. A guy could be an insane fucking wrench or fabricator, but to be a businessman and a good fabricator is pretty rare. You usually either one or the other. Yeah.
It's two different skill sets.
Yeah, usually one or the other. Yeah. Usually. But there's a handful of guys that just like fucking impress, like you're one of them, that impress me in this industry. Like you just pull it all off,
Well, but this is what you're seeing is 20 plus years of experience.
Right, it's a lifetime of this.
The first 15 years was me banging my head against the wall, not being good at all of it.
Yeah.
And I still have a ton to learn, but I do have all those years of experience of fucking up to understand, okay, what's worked, what hasn't worked,
Right.
You know, and all that kind of thing. Like, if you're listening to this and you have a bike shop, you better get in the bike sales business.
Okay.
You know, listen to this. Like, so we buy a bike and we sell a bike. I try and make $2,000 a bike, right?
Okay.
You know, that might take, say, I got to buy it. You know, let's say it takes half an hour to buy it or an hour. Let's say it takes an hour to sell it. That's 2 hours.
Right.
How many labor hours do you have to bill to make $2,000? You got to answer the phone. You got to talk to the customer. You got to write the estimate. You got to order the parts. Then have to do the work. You have to test drive it, and then you have to, you know, get the customer to come get it.
Right.
It's a lot more involved in the service side than there is in the sales side.
Do you think one can exist with, like, could you just stand alone with sales? Or you think if you're doing sales, you have to have a service department of some sort?
No, I think you're foolish if you don't have a service department.
Okay.
That's another profit center as a business, right? And when you're buying and selling bikes, you know, if you want to do it right, like when we buy a bike, we put it up on the rack, we change the oil. I have one of the techs go through it stem to stern, make sure the brake pads are good, and you know, everything that we can see is good, so that when we're selling you a bike, maybe you come in here and you spend your last $8,000 buying a Harley Davidson.
Right.
You know, I want to do everything in my power to make sure you have a good experience. You know that. You know, so it's a good deal.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know, we have the conversation, hey, this bike is going to break at some point.
Right.
I just don't want it to break tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ride it for 6 months.
No,
or a year,
you want that
know?
person to get a few months out of it before they're like, you know, well, I got a season out of it. Now I got to do tires or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
you know?
it is. Yeah,
yeah,
so.
I get it. You don't need them coming back 3 days later like,
no. So,
dude.
But bottom line is, you know, the reason Harley Davidson dealers are successful is because they have all those different profit centers, right? They got sales, they got service and repair, they got parts, they got motor clothes. Now, I've never been successful with the clothing side of things, you know, but that doesn't mean I couldn't be, but I just haven't.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think in order to get ahead and have the tools and the resources to make your shop successful, it takes money to, you know, if you want to sell helmets, you better have a lot of helmets. Right? If you want to sell seats, you saw my shop.
I know, it's crazy.
We have like 100 Saddlemen and LePera seats in stock.
Yeah.
That costs a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Right? That I never had.
Right.
But between bike sales and all the other things, now I'm able to take money and reinvest it in the shop and be able to be more profitable because we're reinvesting in the shop. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You know, but if you're just doing service, it's going to be very difficult to ratchet that up. You know, so that's why it took me so many years. For most of that time, I was just doing service.
Okay.
You know?
Do you remember, like, when you started doing sales, was it an immediate, like, aha, like,
No.
like business turned right around? Like,
No,
you're like, oh my God.
That's not how business works. Or at least that's not how my business works.
Okay.
No, it was 5+ years of banging our head against the wall trying to figure it out.
Okay.
You know, my brother-in-law and I started with one motorcycle. We went in on a bike and we sold that bike and we took that money and we bought another bike and we sold that bike and then we bought 2 bikes and we sold those bikes and we've just snowballed it. You know, it's over a decade now of just reinvesting. You know, but we have 30 bikes in stock in Tennessee and about the same in California. You know, between the two of us. You know, and you know, we built something that's real.
So you had said, you know, it took a while for you to feel like you weren't banging your head against the wall and all that. When you moved to Tennessee and took your chance out here, were you still scared or were you just like pretty confident about it?
No, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my wife. So we came out here, you know, FXRs truly have changed my life many times.
Right.
Okay. You know, getting that guy over there when I was broke and I had zero money, and the guy was willing to give it to me for $100 a week, changed my life. Like, I fell in love with motorcycles again because I found a community of FXR guys, right?
Right.
And a lot of FXR guys own shops. So it was a community of my peers that I could then talk to. So that saved me big time. And then we came out, Janine and I came out in 2019 to the East Coast FXR Jam in Maggie Valley.
Okay.
All right. And we knew we wanted out of California, but we fell in love with these mountains. You know, you've been out here.
I was at that jam. I didn't know you at the time.
No, but I mean,
you know, yeah.
But
it's
that jam changed my life.
Wow.
100%.
Damn.
Came out here, and I wanted to go visit. My wife and I had come out for like 2 weeks. Right? I wanted to go see Pete down at Blue Ribbon Cycles.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Dude, yeah. It's so funny how I met him. Yeah.
You know, so we rode from Maggie Valley to Blue Ribbon, and we passed through Maryville, Tennessee. And my wife and I looked at, man, this would be a cool place to live. Just pipe dreaming.
Right.
Just pipe dreaming. You know, and we ended up moving here. But to answer your question, I was scared to death. And I told Janine, I was like, look, you know, we're cashing out in California. We're going to buy a house in Tennessee. We're starting a new business. And there's a very real possibility that I'm going to fail.
Right.
You know, it's 100% impossible.
Damn.
You know, we're going to a new market. I don't know anybody. You know, I don't know.
So there was no like connection here, or it was just a chance, just as much as any business chance. Let's just fire this shop up and see how it goes.
You know, I do a lot of business with a company called Drag Specialties.
Yep.
And one of Drag Specialties' strengths is they have on the ground road reps on a national level.
Right.
You know, with their own territories. So when I went back to California after the FXR Jam, I contacted the FXR rep in this region, in the Tennessee, you know, Eastern Tennessee area, and told them that I wanted to open a shop here in the next 5 years, you know. And I thought, okay, maybe this is a pipe dream, but let's explore this.
Right. Like, I guess what you're getting at is like you could kind of ask them what kind of numbers they do in certain parts of the country.
I'm gonna close this door.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the heck's making noise, but it's bugging me.
Basically asking the guy like what kind of numbers do they do?
No, not what kind of numbers, because I knew that he wasn't gonna have a motorcycle shop in his area like mine.
Gotcha.
But I asked him, okay, what area needs a motorcycle shop? I'm an independent. This is what I do. You know, what do you think? You know, and he told me, hey, I know the building, and it's the building I'm in.
Really?
But what had happened, my wife and I went, I was like, okay, cool. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try and make this happen in 5 years. So this is end of August of 19, right? Cool, whatever. You know, I talked to him, and I'm thinking, all right, this is a pipe dream. Let's see what can happen. Well, COVID hits. You know, we're having to fucking wonder if we can go to work do we have to have papers to go down the street? You know, we got to run the shop out of the back door? Right. Are we an essential business? You know, all these like things, all this stress, you know. And my wife asked me what I wanted to do for Father's Day. I told her I want to fly to East Tennessee and go look for a building. So we flew into Johnson City, and we went all up and down the eastern edge of the state. I knew I wanted to be in the mountains, you know, and we looked at buildings all up and down here, and we ended up in the building that Blake from Drag Specialties told us, hey, this is the building you should be in.
Damn.
And, you know, we put an offer in on the building, and, I'm lucky enough to have my brother-in-law, Jim, you know, we're partners in a lot of things, and he was willing to go in with me, and we bought the building together, and shit, like I was expecting the bank to say no, 100%.
Right.
Like I've never bought a commercial building.
Right.
You know, that's not in my, you know, I never thought that was even possible, you know, and after 4 months, they said yes. In October, it was actually a V-Twin Visionary, so we're October 8th.
Yeah.
Will be 3 years. I signed the note on that building.
Damn.
Okay. We leased it back to it was an adult store before it was what we were.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was an adult store. And so they wanted to do a 3-month going out of business sale. So I had to rent them back the building for 3 months. In the meantime, we're trying to
Did
sell
they leave any inventory for you?
We got one set of nipple clamps. That's it. And some cool mannequins. We just fucking came here, and I was expecting to move to Tennessee and it'd be slower and not as, there's no way I could start a business and it just take off like wildfire. It was going to be like California or anything. Anytime I've ever done anything new, you bang your head against the wall until you're bloody, until finally, you knock a hole in it. But we opened up, and our first year we just crushed it, and we've continued to crush it since. And
Damn.
it's I feel very fortunate. But I was also opening a bike shop with, let's see, 16 years of experience of owning my own bike shop, and all the mistakes I've made, and really putting a lot of hard thought into, okay, how do I want to lay this out? Everything from the shop culture with employees to the decoration. Like if you have a building that looks really nice, you're going to attract newer and more affluent customers. That's just how it is. Right or wrong, the only thing we can do in Stockton, is we have an old warehouse building. And it's dusty, and it's kind of, but that's all we can, that's the economics of that place.
You don't have to answer this, but this would be a golden question. Do the numbers in Tennessee do better than Stockton now?
100%.
Really? Wow.
The motorcycle culture here is so much stronger. So I'm not an economist, and I'm just telling you my observation.
Right.
And maybe somebody listening can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've observed, right? Being born and raised in California, we're told, and honestly believe that California is up here and the rest of the states are down here, right? Cost of living's expensive, but wages are higher, right? We got the beach, we got the mountains, you got all this stuff.
They try to make it like, oh my God, it's totally worth it.
Yes, this is amazing, right?
And
when you live in California, it's hard to get out of California because, like we said earlier, there's 1,500 miles of desert between California and anything.
Before you hit some greenery again.
Before you hit any greenery. You know what I mean? So, and California does have a lot to offer right there, so you just don't leave, right? But moving out of California, I'm thinking I'm going to move to Tennessee. I'm going to go, everything's going to be slower. The cost of living is way cheap. The cost of energy is cheap. Everything's less expensive. So in my brain, that means people have less money to spend. And business is going to be slower. And where I was wrong is wages are not less here in California. There are a few instances, like my wife was a nurse out there. Nurses don't make as much here as they do in California. But if you're a carpenter, you're a plumber, you're a machinist, you're anything blue collar,
it's all the same.
Out here, you probably make more money. There's way more opportunity. There's manufacturing. If you're just a blue collar guy, you're not into tech. You're not working in Silicon Valley. This is where this is the epicenter, and the cost of living's less, and so people have more disposable income. So it's 180 degrees. I was wrong. I was just wrong. So because of that, the motorcycle culture is huge here. The blue collar, guys like me and you, right? Bubba Boswell said it best. Harley riders are Miller drinking, blue collar working guys. You know what I mean? And this area really caters to that person, and there might be some place in the world that's equal to this as far as motorcycle riding goes. I guarantee you there's no place better. No way.
Was there other places in the country that you had considered?
No.
Really?
It was
just immediately fell in love with this.
We went to Maggie Valley, We knew we wanted out of California, but like I said, my wife and I thought it was a pipe dream.
Right.
Did not think it was something that was actually going to happen. But, you know, that's how you dream about shit and you figure it out. So we went to North Carolina. You know, we've been on Zillow looking, oh, look what you could get for this. You know, playing that game, right? I think we've all done
That's my life. Yeah.
That's what we all do. You look at, here's how much my house is worth here. And you look at what you can get over here for the same price and your mind pops, right?
Yes.
So we had played that game for years, you know, and but no, we came out here. I fell in love with it. So here's another, for instance, in California, I love the mountains, right? Sierra Nevadas are amazing. Only way to live there is if you commute to a different place. My little brother drives an hour and a half each way.
Really?
He lives in a beautiful area, but he has to drive an hour and a half each way, right? Or you're on government assistance, you just live there all the time, you're on government assistance, or you're wealthy. Okay. You know, there's not much industry up in the mountains. Where here, Knoxville is the Knoxville metropolitan area has, 1.5 million people here.
Right.
You know, so
you could be in the mountains in 15, 20 minutes.
20 minutes from here, I'm hiking in the national forest.
Yeah.
20 minutes the other way, I can be eating crepes on a sidewalk cafe in a downtown metropolitan city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this area just has a lot to offer, and it checked all the boxes, and it was like, I don't hesitate. I just find something that's okay. This is it. Let's go.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
crazy, man. That's really cool though to hear how it worked out. You know.
Just got lucky, man. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but there's some luck in there, 100%.
I'm assuming you see yourself here for the rest of your life at this point.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna die in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by like the turns that life could take. And when I say that, I mean like 10 years ago, you couldn't have pictured any of this.
Not a chance.
And now it's like you can't picture anything without it.
And who knows what happens? Who knows what happens in 10 years?
Right.
We never know. You know what I mean? But the John Jessup today says I will die in East Tennessee.
Okay.
And I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
But no, this is heaven. It's the motor. I'm just telling you, the motorcycle community is so strong here. Yeah. We have a Harley dealer that's one of the best Harley dealers in the country. They got concerts every Saturday night. They got a bar, a restaurant. It's a cool social gathering. I've never been a bar. I'm not a barfly guy. That's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But my buddy owns a bar downtown that has some of the best food in the world. So it's cool to go. We'll be down there tomorrow night. They're going to shut down the city, and our city is shutting down for a motorcycle event. Right. In the downtown, where like Sturgis or Daytona or any of the majors do. They shut that thing, and it's nothing but bikes. Right. So. The sense of community here is so strong, whether it's with motorcycles or I'm not really a huge football guy. Right. But, the Tennessee Vols here, like on a Saturday. Yeah. Everybody wears orange. And it's just that sense of community that's really, really cool. People are proud that they live here.
Well, I think California, I'm from New York. California and New York have a lot of similarities. And, people in general are just way nicer here.
Yeah, well...
for sure.
So, I have a theory on this. Yeah. All right?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm no sociologist here, but I drove, cross country, 8 times, moving my shit, so I had a lot of time to think. Right. I think it's just the stress level here is just down here, right? We're surrounded by nature, right? And that's something I'd never even thought about. When you live in the quote unquote concrete jungle, you know what I mean? I live in a tract home. Right. You see some trees, but there's no nature. Right. There's just some trees. Right. Right. You drive to work and you just through the city. That's just normal, right? And then I moved to a place like this where I there's actual nature. Yeah, nice view
out the back and all that.
There's nature where I live, and just that just kind of brings the stress level down. Mm-hmm. And then, when you're not worried about being homeless because your rent's $3,500 a month for a fucking studio apartment. Right. You know what I mean? when you're not worried about, the electric bill, my electric bill on this, this big ass house, and we just leave the AC on and stuff, like it's $300 a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, California would have been like double that.
No, California's like $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month for a house like this with that shit going. Yeah, easy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like everybody's stress, in my opinion, everybody's stress level is just down here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have time to say good morning.
Right.
That's the craziest part moving here is you're at the gas station. People just say good morning.
Right.
How you doing? That's normal. Like, okay, and sometimes you get some old guy who wants to fucking talk for 20 minutes at the pump. Okay.
Right.
Sometimes that's annoying, but so what? He's an old guy. That's what they do. Right? But almost everybody will say good morning.
Right.
That's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a whole different life, man. I think it's wild that, like, there was no, I'm surprised you had said there's nowhere else you had looked, like, had ever considered, because, I mean, through motorcycles, you've pretty much traveled around the whole country.
So, I've been around the whole country.
Nothing else ever, like, grabbed you and thought about it for a minute, huh?
I mean, for a brief minute, but nowhere where I just was like, I was head over heels for this place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
My wife was on board, so that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's kind of necessary.
No, it's. But what I mean is,
yeah.
I didn't have
it wasn't a fight.
It wasn't a fight. It wasn't
no talking into or anything.
No,
like
I didn't have to convince her. It was like we both looked at each other and was like, yeah, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, have you been riding around a bunch?
Oh, dude, I'll be a Tennessee resident in the future, for sure.
So,
yeah.
Like every corner,
I'm a big fan.
There's a stream and you're in a canopy of trees and the road's windy. There's almost no straight lines. And everywhere you go, the scenery is just like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
And then you go around the next corner and you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
And just over and over and over. But no, we just fell in love with this area. I mean, I love spearfish. Spearfish is the shit, but we're worried about the winters, and I'm thin-skinned.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it too, man. A lot of those good areas in South Dakota, like Spearfish is one of them. Dude, the fucking price is twice the price of places in Tennessee. Like, it is not cheap in that South Dakota area, man.
Yeah, well, it's
like. It's just
COVID,
not.
The last 3 or 4 years, COVID ruined a lot of shit.
Yeah, it was a game changer, man. Like, I don't know. I'm fortunate to have owned a house before that, because after that,
it's tough.
I don't know how the fuck you buy a house.
It's tough. There's a little bit of, Janine does real estate. There's a little reckoning going on right now.
Right.
Things aren't on fire. The interest rates went up.
Right.
And that just means, me and you can't sell our house because we're locked in at a lower rate.
Yeah.
And we're stuck.
Way lower.
So we're stuck. But that means, anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
dude, so you said FXRs changed your life.
100%.
Do you remember the first FXR you ever rode?
Yeah, it was mine.
You never rode one before that?
I maybe rode a customers on a test drive or something.
Okay.
But
nothing that ever changed your life.
No. It was okay, here's a Harley. Like, I was dead broke.
Right.
I had to sell my bike to keep my bike shop open. I was without a bike for probably 6 months. And I had a customer who had a heart and was like, hey, I'll sell you this old bike for $100 a week. It cost me $6,000. And it was everything I could do to scrape that fucking money together. Everything I could do.
Damn.
And I got the bike and around here. Because the bikes had a bunch of reincarnations.
Okay.
That's what we do in the bike industry. If you want to come out with a new bike and you don't have any money, you tear your bike down and redo it.
Exactly. That's how Arlen Ness started.
No, that's how everybody's done
His first 3 or 4 bikes was the same bike.
Yes.
It was,
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
That's how,
It's just, it is what it is.
So, but no, that bike really, because I was pretty burned out. Because I just, like I said, had to sell my bike to keep my bike shop open. We were going through the Great Recession. Dude, I was underwater. lost
Closest
my home.
you ever came to losing the business?
No, without a doubt. Like, lost my home. I had to move my business a couple different times.
Wow.
You know, because I was behind on rent, and there's nowhere to get it. You know, and it was just like, you know, I couldn't quit because I didn't have any other options.
Right.
You know, and but through the FXRs, and then when, like, back in the day, there was a Facebook page called FXRs of California. There still is, and back then it was so grassroots and so positive. Like, there was, that page was like, it was almost sacrilege to try and do business on that page. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of bike shop owners.
Right.
And we're all like, you know what, man? Like, this is about the bike. This is about us just as enthusiasts of this bike, enjoying it for what it is, not trying to pimp it out like we do everything else in the bike industry, right?
Right.
So, like, most of us, like, it was very rare that we were ever trying to sell a part on there. You know what I mean? It was very rare that, you know, I take that back. We'd sell our used parts, but, like, I wasn't, like, just actively trying to find brand new FXR parts to sell on there. It wasn't a business.
Right.
It was more of a hobby.
Right.
And through that, I met so many other guys who do what you do, like, you know, who owned a bike shop.
Right.
And were having the same struggles as I was. And, you know, like, I can talk to them about that stuff, and then you're like, oh shit, because we all feel like failures.
Right.
You know, if you're in business and you haven't felt like a failure, so, you know, that's crazy.
Right.
But you know, to be able to have those real conversations with guys, and FXRs open those doors for me.
Right.
Does that make sense? You know
Totally.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so to be able to build those relationships with other guys in the motorcycle industry through FXRs. And realize that, okay, you're not the only one who's had to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
You know, you're not the only one who's had to fucking write a bad check to get your lights on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
do an overnight move.
Yeah, you know, like, you're not the only guy who's had to fucking shuck and jive. Like,
right.
You know, it happens, you know, and finding that community of people really lit my fire again to start building, you know, at the time, bikes with used parts and whatever I can put my hands on.
Right.
You know, like something like this was like, are you insane? Like, you know, this is just accumulation of many, many years of being able to do things and putting money together and having bad priorities.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think most people that see this bike look at it as like a once in a lifetime dream kind of bike. You know what I mean?
No, this
is a fucking wild bike.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm very fortunate that I get to do this. You know, this was not something I was able to do for most of my career.
Right.
You know, but if you're listening and you have a bike shop, because I sell bikes, I'm able to do this.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, the bike sales was the big game changer.
It's the game changer. Huh? Yeah. My brother-in-law Jim and myself. So Jim was farming corn.
No shit.
Yeah, in the Central Valley, out in a place called Dialton, and he was done with that, and he came to me. He's like, dude, you know, let's do something together. And I was like, all right, I want to do bike sales, but I was so busy. The hardest part about when you have a bike shop. And it's most bike shops are you, maybe one or two other guys, right? It's not big.
Right.
So you're all wearing three hats. You're trying to be the service writer, answer the phones, work on bikes, order parts. You're trying to do everything. Your bandwidth, there's no bandwidth for anything new. So to get into bike sales, it's like, fuck, dude. Like, how do I do that in addition to everything else? And I'd been trying to do that for years.
Right.
And my brother-in-law came in. He wasn't my brother. He was just my buddy at the time, but he came to me and I was like, let's do bike sales together, but I need you to spearhead it. You know, so he went and got our dealer's license, and, you know, we started buying and selling bikes a little bit. Then we didn't know about National Power Sports Auctions, so we started buying like old Crown Vics from the CHP. Like, we'd go buy 10 Crown Vics and try to do buy here, pay here. That was a shit show. Like I said, you beat your head against the wall until you find a way through it. You know?
Right.
It it was definitely a tough deal. So, but it allowed me through years of perseverance to be able to build a bike like this.
Right.
Like you brought up Ness.
Yeah.
And you brought up like, Dave.
Yeah.
And all that. And I remember when I was getting started in the motorcycle industry, there was this thing called Limp Nicky lot.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember them?
Yep.
And they were like
it was like bare knuckle, like Pat from Lead Sled. I think Blings was involved.
Yeah, like
a lot, like a core of chopper guys, kind of.
Chopper guys, right? Who weren't about billet parts. At the time there was the Ness bikes, the Parawitz bikes that were all these crazy high dollar billet bikes.
Yeah.
And they were kind of the opposite of that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And
that was like the dirty kids lot.
The dirty kids lot, right? Yeah. And they'd kind of make fun of these bikes, like those aren't real bikes, right?
Right.
But what they failed to realize is those guys started like them, right? Back in the 70s, Ness, like you said, he was building the same bike out of the same bike out of his shed.
Yeah.
Same thing with Paro. All these guys are self-made.
Yep.
Right? But if you stay in this industry long enough, and hopefully you learn, you become more successful the longer you've been doing it. Like anything, right?
Right.
So,
a lot of those names we just named too. I mean, you could even just see their own things that have evolved over the years too. It's like
that's it. Like you're supposed to evolve, and right now I'm really into freaking turbos.
Yeah.
I've got a turbo on my Softail, and the next bike I'm gonna build has a turbo. I love turbos.
Dude, when you fired that one up today and you were pulling it around to take it back in, when you fucking I don't know if you ever heard that bike from outside. It sounds sick when you're going through the lot, and then once you get in the doors, the fucking sound of the turbo echoing in there, it sounded fucking insane, dude.
You should hear it.
It sounded so good.
I hope you come Friday night at the drag strip. It's freaking awesome.
Are you going to be running that bike?
I'm going to run that bike down the drag strip.
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome.
Yes. But that's the thing. And it's weird how when I was younger, I looked at the guys who were building the high dollar bikes like, right. You know what I mean? Like that's not real, or that's not
obtainable.
It was just not obtainable for me, or it was almost like, must be nice. You know what I mean? You kind of hate on them a little bit, right?
Right.
But with perseverance, like, I love fucking motorcycles.
Yeah. Well, before you got into the FXR thing, you were in the motorcycle industry. What were the bikes you were into at that time?
So baggers. So we did a lot of builds for I had a huge influence from the black bike clubs out of like the East Bay, like Soul Brothers, East Bay Dragons.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of them, and we did a lot of stuff with those guys. And man, I learned so much about style and contrasting colors and stuff like that. But we were doing a ton of, back in the day, there was only skinny tire baggers, but that was really when I could take a bagger down the frame, throw the bolts in a bucket, and I knew where every bolt went, and we'd tear them down and build like, the Skittles theme bikes or all kinds of shit.
Right, basically it looked like a NASCAR jacket.
Yeah, exactly. And those guys were the OG performance bagger guys because man, that's all
they were like 10 years ahead.
Oh yeah, all they like to do is fucking talk shit and drag race.
Right. Did you do the big wheel bagger thing too with all that?
For me,
or did you like transition before that?
I transitioned before. So I had built some bikes with some 21s. Mm-hmm. And then in 2007, I built a bike with the 23, right? And then, but to get it to work, I had to like shorten the amount of travel and the suspension. It was kind of like, it looked cool. It was one of the first 23s I ever saw. But that was before we all had Facebook or Instagram, so who knows? Right? And that's the bike I had to sell to keep my bike shop open, right? Okay. And then I fell in love with FXRs. And I was like, fuck, I'm just doing FXRs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no. And at the time, you know, it wasn't like it is today where the FXRs were popular. Like, it was just, it's what I loved because that's what I could have.
Right.
You know? But I never did like the 20, I just wasn't into that shit. You know, I've always liked to go fast.
Right.
And go around corners fast. And that's really been what we focused on. You know, and I wasn't trying to cut frames and all that shit. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, FXRs and new Softails are about as high performance as Harleys get, man. You want to go fast and take turns, you better be on one of those.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, even their new baggers. I
just don't. They just don't grab my heart.
No, I get it, but have you ridden
You
one?
know, I've ridden all the bikes, but FXRs and the Softails, I
100%.
think
I'm with you.
I think they're just the best. You know, they're awesome, man. You know,
No, Harley makes a pretty fucking badass bike right now.
Yeah. I had a Road King for a summer. I just like couldn't. It just wasn't my thing, man.
I get it. I get it.
I'll tell you how much it wasn't my thing. That summer, my girlfriend at the time and me did a road trip coast to coast for 30 days. And I didn't like that bike so much. I took my Dyna on that trip and left the Road King at home.
Wow.
Yeah. That was that summer. So
all right.
Yeah, that's how much
your gig.
That's how much baggers just are not my thing, dude.
Okay. All right.
I just can't get into them, man.
Yeah.
If I want a bagger, dude, it's gonna be an FXR.
I get it.
And I'm putting bags on that, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the original bagger right here.
Yes.
You know?
Right. Amen.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with baggers.
Okay.
I don't hate on them. They're just not for me.
No, that's fine. Look.
I think they're cool and all. Like, I quite honestly, there's a lot of trips I'm on where I'm like, I fucking wish I could get into baggers. And you know what? The only baggers that have really got me thinking I might buy another bagger are, have you seen that black and orange, like, I call it the Elvis bike. It's like a retro look from the old Shovelheads. They have a pink and black one also. What do you call this, pink or magenta? It's like a dulled down version of this color.
This is hot pink pearl from House of Color.
Okay.
So yeah,
it's like a dulled down
exactly.
pink compared to this.
Yeah.
But you know the model I'm talking about.
I know exactly.
That fucking bike makes me thinking hard that I want to buy another bagger.
Yeah.
I really like that bike.
Here's the deal. One thing I don't like is, you know, there's a lot of motorcycle tribalism, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're a chopper guy, it's like, fuck this, choppers only, choppers. Right. You know, there's FXR guys.
FXRs get like that, too.
Yeah, there's that FXR purist that's like,
FXR die.
FXR die. You know, you're not even a real biker if you don't have an FXR.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's the bagger guys, there's the, you know, the shovelhead guys, there's the, you know, whatever, right? Whatever, like, little group you want to fit in.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. Like,
I don't either.
Like, for me, like, if you pulled up on a purple Vespa.
Yeah.
But you know what? You rode that thing and you're enjoying it. Dude,
it.
who am I to say? I don't really give a shit. You
Yeah.
know, like, I don't care.
I don't care either, and I never really did. But, I mean, if you really want to get down to it, for me personally, my heart is really in FXRs and choppers. Like,
agreed.
That's just where my heart is. That's what I mean by all that. It's like, it's just not for me. Agreed. But like, at this point, it's unavoidable. Like, most of my friends ride baggers, you know, like they're the most fucking popular bike going, you know. So, who doesn't have one in the garage now?
So,
you know,
a game changer for me was November 19th, or we were in Tucson, Arizona. I think it was beginning of November in 2019. All right. I bought my wife a new a 2018 Harley Softail, just a lowrider.
Okay.
You know, an FXR, when you're riding it, you need to be able to diagnose it as you're riding it. Right? And my wife didn't have those skills.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I'm just going to go buy her a brand new bike. I'll make the payment so that because I was trying to encourage her to get into riding.
Right.
Right. I didn't want her to have a bad experience. So I figured a brand new bike. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's dumb this down.
That's the right move.
It's 2 wheels. You can just ride.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we were down in Tucson at a drag specialties event. My fuel-injected FXR, which ran flawlessly the day before. I go to fire it up. It's like one cylinder running like shit. I'm like, fuck me. You know, here's this big group of people getting ready to leave. And she was like hanging out with the spa with the ladies. So I jumped on her Softail and ripped all day. And by the time I got done, I was in love with that bike. It was like I was skateboarding again. Like any little whoop in the road, I was like, rip! And like jumping the bike over it.
Yeah.
You know, and just doing all kinds of stupid shit. And I fell in love with that bike. So I came home, and then they released Lowrider S.
Yep.
Right? So the end of November, I bought a brand new Lowrider S, which is that turbo bike you saw me on today.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yep.
That was my first M8 that I guess my wife's was an M8, but I wasn't gonna do much. I was just that was her bike to ride. You know, this bike, I got it and tore it down the frame with 300 miles on it, and like, all right, let's fucking do this thing. And what I found was, being in the motorcycle business, that was the smartest thing I could do, right? Well, I love these, and FXRs are extremely special to me. The typical FXR guy isn't in my shop trying to spend money on a daily basis.
Right.
There's not that many of them. Everybody who owns an FXR prides themselves on saving money and not spending a ton on them, or 95% of FXR owners do.
Yeah, they all want to do it themselves.
And they want to do it themselves, which is fucking even cooler, right?
Yeah.
But that's not a good business move. So doing an M8, I did this M8, and like all of a sudden customers are like, oh, you know how to work on M8s? I'm like, dude, like, yeah, they're easy. Like, they're way easier than FXR.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a kind of an eye-opener for me. Like, okay, if I want to be relevant with my customer base, I need to have bikes that my customer bike base rides.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, you have to keep up with the times too.
You know, like
I mean, unless you're gonna turn, which there's nothing wrong with this either, but unless you're gonna turn into a fucking classic motorcycle shop, you better fucking keep up with the times.
If you're a classic motorcycle shop, you better be either the elite,
right,
or rich, and don't care if you lose a fuck ton of money.
Well, what I noticed with a lot of the classic shops is it's generally not their only business. They got to be making money somewhere else. Yeah. You know, it's hard to survive just on shovels and pans.
It's
not that easy.
There's a few guys out there who've been doing it a very long time, and they can do it. But yeah, but so for me, riding those bikes and being like, okay, I can do something with this, and then like the M8 baggers, like I built a few of those, and
right. Dude, know what I wanted to ask you? That bike, that Softail, it's right at the door there. It's got the aluminum swing arm on it. It looks like an RP fairing on there.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a personal bike of yours?
No, that's not. That's a customer's bike. Fabian, he's out of New York.
Oh, okay.
He brought his bike down. We're putting a turbo on that bike and a few other things. And
wow.
And
yeah, the fucking thing was sick.
Yeah, he came all the way down from New York to have us do that, which is like,
damn.
What
I hope I see that thing on the streets.
Oh yeah, you will.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Fabian's good shit. He's a truck driver in New York.
Okay.
Like, which I respect the shit. If you're a truck driver in New York City,
yeah.
God damn, you're
best
like
in the world.
You're the toughest guy I know because holy cow, that's nuts.
Yeah. I bet you we know a bunch of the same. I bet you
probably
there's not much degree of separation between me and him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look out for that bike though. It was fucking
that bike's
wild.
gonna be a killer.
Yeah.
So, but no,
you find yourself doing a lot of those turbo bikes now, huh?
Yeah, you know, like anything, if you do it, just like when I built the M8 Softail, all of a sudden I had guys with M8 Softails coming to me because they wanted me to do M8 Softail stuff.
Right.
The same with the baggers. You know what I mean? Like, I think in this industry we have to show our customers. Okay, like the way I do it is, okay, I'm going to build. There's two kind of bikes I build, right? One is like this. Mm-hmm. This is my passion, right? And this is like these pipes. I can't sell a customer those pipes.
Right.
First of all, they're not coming in with a shovel head.
Right.
And these old school bubs, like they're unobtainium. You can't find them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when we do a bike like this, I'm just trying to find a lot of cool old parts and do something like this. But this is just passion. This is no business. This is not. I didn't build this bike to sell. I built this bike because I love it, and my buddy Dave painted it and all that shit, right? And then there's the like the showcase piece, right? Like that Turbo Softail or the M8 baggers I build.
Right.
Those are, I'm using mostly catalog parts, right? Almost exclusively to build these bikes, so that when the customer comes in and looks at this bike and he's like, holy shit, I'm trying to take it to the extreme, right? Realizing that most customers are never going to build a bike to that extreme.
Right.
But they'll come in and be like, man, I really like those brake rotors. Like,
right.
Those are badass, the brake calipers, or I like that
or those
turbo.
struts or whatever.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They like a piece of that bike.
Right.
So they're willing to,
It's like in the chopper boom, like the classic, like build a bike to showcase. And maybe, the customer will come in for a custom tank instead of a fucking $50,000 build,
Well, yeah, I mean, same thing. Look at Heeman.
Right,
Heeman,
right. Oh,
dude, that guy's a savage.
Insane, dude.
He's insane, right?
So insane.
But because he built those badass bikes,
yeah,
I'm having him build a FXR chopper frame.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So same thing, just different.
Yeah.
Different skill sets. I have the skill set of, we have a well-oiled machine. Machine is a bike shop.
Yeah.
Where you come in with your newer bike and
Yeah.
you want anything done, we can do it. And I'm going to show you the examples of, like, here's some off the wall, completely done from the frame up, cases split, everything done
right
on your platform, and then you can go a la carte of, have some inspiration from that, and it works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of like unobtainium and all that stuff, and like you had said when you were younger, you couldn't have pictured ever having a bike like this.
Not a chance.
Dude, most people too, like, I'm one of them at least. I fucking dream of having a Perowitz paint job one day.
Dude.
Like, never mind this bike. I mean, this bike is fucking wild. But like, just the Perowitz paint job alone is fucking insane.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I want Dave to do flames one day. I dream of a fucking classic Perowitz flame job,
Yeah.
But goddamn, even just the paint on this bike is like fucking unobtainium for most people. It's crazy, dude.
That's something for me. Like, that's another thing I never.
You guys are obviously very tight too, so it's got a lot of sentimental value.
Well, it does. I mean, I grew up watching those guys up on TV, right?
Right.
I had just started my bike shop, and during that time of the TV bike builder craze.
Yeah.
And, I'm watching these guys on TV just dreaming, like, man.
Yeah.
Whoa, like, this is insane. Like, glued to the TV back then, watching this stuff.
Yep.
And then, now, I became a hamster just because, like, all my motorcycle heroes, or the vast majority of them, were hamsters. And to be able to have that camaraderie or that
support,
that mentorship,
community
and the mentorship, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to call Dave or Corey Ness or whatever and ask him advice about a build, or hey, how's this, what do you guys think about this? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Talk about a dream come true, bro.
Right.
Talk about, like, I feel like that little kid hanging out with his favorite football team, and every time I'm around these people, I'm just trying to, like, play cool, like, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, it's so funny you say football team, because I tell people motorcycles are my sport.
Yes, 100%,
you know all the builders and fucking all this other shit. It's like that's my sport. I don't really follow sports anymore, but
no, I mean,
it's like a fucking sport.
It is. It's a sport. It's got it's guys who are up here, and everybody in between, and one thing I really admire, and one lesson that I've really tried to learn from those guys is humility, right? In this industry, how many times have you guys seen somebody who came out who's has this I'm a fucking badass, I'm the best that's ever been, kind of attitude?
It's the worst. It's the
Five
worst.
years later, they're off building boats or they're doing forerunners or whatever the fuck. They're not into bikes anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? But those guys who've been around forever, like the Arlen Ness, Corey Ness, Dave Perowitz, Donnie Smith, Ed Kerr, Grady Pfeiffer, all Randy Aaron at Cyclovisions. I mean, I can go on and on with these names of guys who built more bikes.
Yeah.
Than I know.
Iconic bikes.
Iconic
bikes.
Since before I was born.
Right.
And they're just cool. They don't have an ego. Like, Dave and I we're at the swap meet at the Donnie Smith show.
Yep.
He's digging through dirty parts the same way I am.
Yeah.
Right? We're out there swap meeting and any random person, hey Dave, he stops what he's doing and shoots the shit with him. Like he's not too good.
No.
So
he's the best, dude.
Who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that's something that that group is so special to me.
How long ago did you become a hamster?
A year and a few months.
Okay.
So not long.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
that's like you brought up the Perowitz paint job. Like for him to say, hey, I'd love to do a project with you and let's do an FXR. And I'm like, oh, okay. Trying not to be a fanboy,
Yeah, that's the bike to build if Dave's going to have a hand in it, man.
Yeah.
It's an FXR. Yeah, this one's a wild one.
So there's a freaking picture. I can't remember it. So someone asked Jesse James who his favorite builder was, right? And he put a picture of fucking Perowitz. He had Perowitz had, it was behind an FXR, little Arlen Ness Cafe fairing and shit. And he had, the Easy Rider lady or whatever on there. And it's like, that's in my brain, this iconic photo, right? I was like, I want to hire a photographer to, like, I'm going to put Janine, my wife, on that bike and I'm standing behind it, like, just like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, that's so crazy that's how he answered that.
Yeah,
that's
right?
fucking awesome.
Right?
Yeah. I know for me, I told Dave this was, he's got not all, but a good chunk of his magazine features on his wall in the shop. And that one fucking picture of him standing in front of that red FXR with no shirt on, like,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's the fucking.
That's it.
Dude, so many people look at that as like, that's the fucking guy. That is bikes right there.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's the fucking most iconic, badass fucking dude. Like,
dude, there's so many. There's so many of those, like that old school, the motorcycle history, right?
Yeah.
What we're a part of. When we get to be a part of this industry, it's a small industry.
Yeah, it's
right?
a super small world.
Super small world.
Yeah.
I can call most of the owners of companies, they're in my cell phone.
Right.
I can't imagine that. Yeah. So super small industry, but because of that, like we're in charge of the history of this shit. And it doesn't go that far back.
Yeah, because it is a newer industry.
The grandfathers.
It's like one like Dave is one of the guys who started off,
unfortunately,
or Ness who's
passed away.
Now.
You know what I mean?
Like that's just the first generation.
Those are the guys.
And they're still here.
Those are the guys who invented what we get to do for a living.
Yeah.
They invented the custom motorcycle world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like a guy like Ness who pretty much. If he didn't invent it, he was one of the very first ones to have a catalog.
I don't think anyone can argue if there was a Mount Rushmore of this shit, Arlen Ness would be everyone's first pick.
Oh.
Like, hands down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He was one of the first to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they created an industry that I get to feed my family with.
Right. And now, have a lot of fun doing.
And now I get to, go have dinner with these guys and shit. And I'm just like, what the heck? This is amazing. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
On, another great guy, Mark Shadley.
I never even heard that name.
So many people haven't heard. If you haven't heard of Mark Shadley, you need to look that guy up.
Okay.
What's
the name of his shop?
It's Shadley Brothers.
Okay.
Right? And they're 20 minutes from Dave's shop.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. top level.
I gotta look these guys up.
Been in business 40 years.
Okay. I'm assuming Dave is friends with them.
Yeah.
He's pretty tight.
He's a hamster as well.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good buddies.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like you get to go to some of these older bike shops and look at the history and how they've been doing stuff and how have you been in business for 40 years, first of all.
Right.
Because that's my goal.
Right. Even if you own a candy shop, to be in business for 40 years, it's like, that's big.
My goal is to do this. Hopefully I never have to do anything else for a living the rest of my life.
Right.
And I want to work till I die.
Okay.
I don't want to retire, ever. Okay. I love this shit. Damn. Why would I want to retire? Never.
Okay.
So, and those guys don't. Like, how old's Dave? In his 70s? And we keep bringing up Dave just because he did a podcast with Dave recently.
Yeah, and there's a lot of common ties here.
Yeah. So, and Dave's just one example of a lot of people who do this. But
you better hope Dave is in his 70s. Otherwise, he might be like, I'm not 70, motherfucker.
Dave's in his 70s, but you know, he wakes up.
Yeah.
He goes to work. He builds motorcycles.
Yeah, he still loves it, just like day one.
He still loves it.
Yeah.
He can go home and just sit on his couch, but no. If you do this, it's because you're passionate about it. It's in your blood.
Right.
You fucking love it, and you know. I can't wait to go to work tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah,
it's a shit show every day. We put out fires and we keep doing it. Like.
Yeah, but that's why you do it. You love it. It's. People want to retire from shit they don't love.
No, I never want to retire.
Can't wait till they can't do it anymore.
Whatever that means. If I show up to the shop and I make popcorn and I shake hands and I tell about the good old days, okay, that's right. I will go in that motherfucker every day.
Well, dude, that would be really the dream. That's like quite a retirement anyway. It's like being able to go into your business and not really have to be working anymore. Yeah. You are kind of just hanging out.
Yeah.
That's kind of retirement.
Yeah, I guess.
You're living in this cool world that you created.
Yeah, whatever.
Right?
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you creating here with these wheels?
That is a build I'm doing. I've got an FXR. I'm building that blue motor right there. I'm doing let's see, where's the tank at? I got the tank put
One of those up there?
That's a fender. I have the tank in the other room. I'll show you.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm doing a fuel-injected twin-cam FXR for a buddy in California.
Cool.
It'll be super cool. That'll be done probably around Christmas. I'm going to put some miles on it. I'll probably show it the first time in Daytona.
Fucking engine looks insane, man.
Yeah.
It's very rare you see a full polished twin-cam. And that's what I planned on doing with. I told you I'm going to twin-cam one of my FXRs. I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 other polished twin cams. Yeah. I want to do a full polished also. Yeah. It's fucking badass, dude.
Yeah. So I'm all about polishing chrome.
Yeah. Dude, I tell people too, like, because all the black bike, like black your bike out, like it's been the big thing for the last 10 years. Dude, to me, flames and chrome never went out of style.
No, they never go out of style. I mean,
it's been cool to me forever.
A black bike is kind of like jeans and t-shirt.
Right.
It's cool as fuck. It's hard. I mean, I go to the motorcycle auction and there's 7 black bikes for every 1 colored bike. You know what I mean?
No, my heart is in fucking chrome and color and polished aluminum. 100%, like this.
I want them to look like an Easter egg.
Yeah. A fucking polished Easter egg that does 150 miles an hour.
Amen.
Yes. That's what I want.
And that's the goal, and that's what's so cool about the quote-unquote performance bike scene.
Yeah.
FXRs, or there's FXRs or baggers, there's the Softails or whatever it is. We're building bikes that we want aesthetically pleasing. Right. I love all the chrome and shit and all that. But if we can't get out on rip on it and beat on it and go around the corners and treat it like any other bike, then what the fuck? That's not what we do. So that's why I'm so excited we're the motorcycle industry and the kind of the latest trend.
When it shifted toward performance.
Exactly. You know what I mean? The wide tire choppers, okay, that looked cool.
Yeah.
Right on, whatever. But you can't fucking ride them.
Yeah.
The big wheel baggers, some people say you can ride them. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, you're taking a lot of fucking rideability out. You just are,
Yeah. I've got some, anyway. Not my favorite thing. Hey, whatever. I can look at some of them and appreciate the how well they're done and the fabrication and all that. Not my thing at all.
Right.
And they're dying because why? Because you couldn't
They're
ride
not
them.
usable. Yeah.
They're not usable. Where now we're finally in a trend that is function based.
Yeah. Which to me, if a bike doesn't perform or function, I mean, they don't all have to be fucking fire breathing 130 horse, but like it needs to have like proper brakes, some sort of a proper suspension. Like it's got to have a little something going for it.
You got to be able to cross state lines.
Yeah.
And have fun doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you're having fun doing it, it's because the bike's set up right for you to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like we all know, like there was a lot of bikes before all this. Let's just call it in the '90s era, where they just weren't very functional, man.
No.
They were just like sloppy, typical sloppy old Harleys. You know?
Like the
like
Evo Softail.
Right. That whole era, like
it's just a rattle trap. You know?
Yeah.
But and the FXRs back then were something you
back
could
then, yeah,
were a great bike and still are. But that's the coolest part about this scene is it's so function based.
Yeah.
I was tripping. I was in Sturgis, right? I can't tell you what just in a 12-month period from Sturgis 2020. What year is this? 23.
23 now.
So Sturgis 2022 to 2023. The amount of 50-plus-year-old guys who had T-bars on their bikes instead of apes.
Really? Yeah.
Tremendous difference.
Yep.
Night and day difference in just that 12-month period. So that's the kind of stuff I pay attention to is, because that's our customer base.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging to me that these guys are, we're routinely yanking pointy ape hangers off baggers and putting T-bars on there for guys in their 50s and 60s because we live in an area with the best riding in the world. I'm like, dude, your bike's not set up. Like, if you let me set your bike up, now you can go around these corners and the bike is more comfortable. You have more confidence. I'll argue that it's safer because you have more control.
Oh, for sure.
And all of a sudden you enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about the enjoyment of riding the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before too, is like with this whole function, this wave of function, this trend toward function has got, I mean, there's no way we can measure it, but it's got to have people putting more miles on bikes.
Yeah.
Across the board.
I would assume so. I would assume so.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, I can tell you, I just sold my Road Glide, but that was a 150 horsepower Road Glide, right? That I'd rode cross country 3 times.
Damn.
3 times and back with 0 issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what a great machine.
It's hard to beat. Yeah.
What a great machine.
Yeah.
Because these modern bikes can do that, it's just fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough to hate the modern bikes, man. That's
I love them all.
That's what I say.
I love them all.
Yeah.
But, it's
dude, I generally actually try not to ask this question, but we're just so on this topic. I got to know, where do you think the next trend lies? What do you think the future holds?
For me, I see us having a very long run of what we're doing. I think it's going to be refined. I think it's going to be refined. I think there's going to be different companies that come up with revolutionary products. Mm-hmm. Harley's releasing their brand new bike, their variable valve train bike. We'll see where Harley Motor Company goes. They're the leaders in all this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because without them, we're all done. So let's see where they go. But I think companies are going to continue to come out with cool products that are function based, style and function, and man.
Do you ever see yourself getting into the parts manufacturing game?
I would love to. I've toyed around with the idea. I've never been in the manufacturing business. Mm-hmm. And in the next few years, I think I'm going to go down that road a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm working on some stuff to kind of learn that business and figure that out. But I don't want to just come out with my own riser.
Right.
Just to say I have a riser or my own foot peg. You know what I mean? So like,
I think you don't have a choice at this point, though. Like, you're not going to come out with a part that, like, just nobody else makes. It'd be rare. I don't know what you got in the works, but
no,
like,
right.
Eventually you'd have to pick, like, a part and be like, fuck it, I'm going to design mine, you know?
Yeah,
like a riser or an air cleaner or a peg. Like,
yeah, no, I get it.
I think you kind of, on some level, have to do that.
You know, I get it.
Unless you got, like, an invention up your sleeve, you know?
But that maybe that's kind of what I'm waiting on.
Or an exhaust. Like, I mean, you know, I don't know.
For me, like we talked about earlier, you know, with the bike sales, with my motorcycle shop, anytime I've started a new business or even a new avenue of business, right? You know, I'm banging my head against the wall. I'm bloody. I lose all my money, and you know, and then finally figure it out, right? So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to get in the parts manufacturing business, to be honest.
Right.
You know,
you're like not ready to run another marathon yet.
No.
Yeah.
I want to get, my goal is to get my Tennessee shop, our online shop, going to where I think, okay, we've got the growth as far as we can get this. You know what I mean?
When you say the online shop, parts sales online?
Yeah, so I have teamdreamrides.com, right? And we, you know, we're out there battling against Revzilla and JP Cycles and all the others. You know, I would say, you know, we're more along like a Speed Kings or Hardcore Cycles. Those are some buddies of mine.
Okay.
You know, and we just do our online thing. We really focus on customer service, you know, and giving a customer like, okay, hey, we're an actual real shop. We work on bikes. You know, we're not just some fucking big call center. You know what I mean? You're not ordering this from just some guy at a warehouse.
Right.
You know, you're actually like, we're in this shit.
I think don't you guys do financing too?
Yeah, we do a lot of financing. So
that's something a lot of people don't do.
Yeah,
you know, that's like pretty sweet little
so I mean,
ace in the hole.
Pretty much if you need something for your bike, you know, I mean, we even have like no credit options and stuff like that where, you know, we can get you some payment terms that
do you think you're going to go into the repoing Thunder header business, King?
No. Hold on. You've got it twisted. I don't finance the parts. Okay. That's not my money. You buy a Thunder header from me. Right. You finance it through another company. They pay me, and they collect the money from you. And if you never pay them, that's between you and them, and I never know about it.
No shit.
Swear to God.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not in the repo business, and I don't want to be.
I was looking forward to getting a shirt that says, John Jessup repoed my Thunder header.
With a picture of Debo in there.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, my God, dude. Man, I feel like there's a zillion more questions to ask just looking around this place.
Well, I'm here for you.
But I don't know how run on you want to go. I haven't even looked at the time. How long have we been? Oh, we're all right. We're at Oh, cool.
You want a water?
Yeah, water would be awesome.
I'm dying.
Dude, are you friends with Nick Henzo? I see the only sticker on your toolbox is FXR Bazaar.
So Nick Henzo and I started the West Coast FXR Jam together after I got back from the East Coast one.
No shit.
And Nick's a good buddy of mine.
Okay.
You know, he's half an hour from my Stockton shop.
Okay.
You know, Nick's a really good guy. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, I never met him yet in real life, but we've chatted enough on Instagram and stuff like that. You know, I certainly love his FXR Bible.
Yeah, no,
but
Nick's put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this. He really has.
Yeah. I just I see the sticker. I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking in my head, you guys are pretty close geographically.
Yeah.
Where you're from. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's going to be next year. My next year is about to get planned out, and god damn, I want to do a West Coast Jam. I've never done one. I think next year will be the one, you know.
Go for it.
I'm putting together a really rad. So I have an actual FXR4 with a twin cam that I'm raffling off right now, but I have a '94 FXR that I've always had this idea. I want to build a poor man R4. I'm going to call it basically a replica R4, but like with a bunch of Nest parts and a hot rod engine.
Okay.
So I think I want to take that poor man R4, which there's going to be nothing poor man about it.
Whatever.
But I think I want to take that one to the West Coast
your
Jam.
Gucci R4?
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, you know.
Yeah. So I would recommend you go. So Nick and I planned the first one together, and I was at the first two of them, and then since I moved to the East Coast, and I'm in a hotel room. I'm gonna tell you 3.5, 4 months a year.
Yeah.
There's some stuff
I know how it goes.
I've had to let slide, and Nick's pretty much. I'm not involved in any of that stuff anymore. It's his baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when he and I sat down, we talked about, okay, what do we want this to be, right? One thing that was so special to me about the East Coast FXR Jam that we borrowed and wanted to make part of the West Coast FXR Jam is this is not about business.
Right.
Like, there's no vendors.
Keep that all out of it.
There's no vendors.
Yeah.
This is just a gathering. Like, this is, like, if you have a bike shop, don't bring your shit.
Right.
You're not here to sell shit. You're here to just have fun. Like, let's ride motorcycles, let's get to know each other, and that's it.
Right.
And
this might be a silly question, but what came first, the East or the West Coast Jam?
East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably should have known that already, but I just...
That's all right. Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Oh, I'm sure there's people watching that are like, how'd you not know that?
I mean...
But whatever,
East Coast just celebrated their 10th year.
Right.
Their FXR Jam. Yeah. So.
How many years is the West Coast going for?
I want to say the first West Coast Jam was... it was July of 19. I'm almost positive. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was July of 19.
Okay.
Is when we did that.
Damn, I thought it was still a little bit older. I mean, I don't know. It just surprises me to hear that.
I'm just kind of doing backwards math, and I might be wrong, but I think it's 19. Yeah.
Right. So being that you were on the West Coast your whole life, did you guys hear about the East Coast jams? Like, after a few years, like, we got to get out there.
No,
like,
it was we're all staring. So on the West Coast, like, I'm looking at the Joe Milky's FXR show in Sturgis.
Yeah.
I'm looking at East Coast FXR Jam. Back then, our thing, before there was a jam, there was the just FXRs of California, like their meetup, right? Lady named Dana Levine, was spearheaded all that, and like, I mean, it was a big fucking deal,
right?
But that was kind of our jam, but it got commercialized and then it went away, But no, all us West Coast guys were always drooling about that shit, and then like you had guys like Joseph Gerardo, and some guys were like, fuck it, like, we're just riding across the country making it happen, and I'm in my shop wrenching away going, fuck, man, that would be amazing. 19 was my first Sturgis, like,
no shit.
Yeah, 19 was my first Sturgis.
Wow. I mean, I'm saying that, like, last year was my first Sturgis.
No, I get it, but
it's like,
but like, it seems like a long time ago, but a lot's happened in, like, 4 years? Mm-hmm. Jeff Holt asked me to bring an FXR to Sturgis, and for his, that was his first Beachwood Visionaries show in Sturgis, was 19.
Do you think you even would have went to that one if he didn't invite you?
No, I had no plans on going, because for me, that's how many days out of the shop where I'm not making money, right? Because if you are your shop, in which I was at that time, no service, I'm the guy answering the phones and writing the work orders. Well, you leave your shop, so your shop's not making money.
The whole thing's closed.
The whole thing's closed, so you're not making any money, and you're spending money. So it's like, costs you twice as much.
Right.
You know? So like, it was very rare. I couldn't justify it. And then Jeff asked me, hey, look, because I had won a bunch of shows all up and down the West Coast. And he's like, it'd mean a lot to me if you came to my show, right? And I didn't want to show up with the same bike that had won all that stuff. So that's that bike in the other room, that 82 that you saw.
Yeah.
My daughter and I built that in like 8 weeks to go to his show, and this is how my first Sturgis trip went.
Damn.
I put my wife, my daughter, my wife, my daughter, and my 2 sons in the pickup truck. We trailered 3 bikes out there, right? And we got there because the FXR show's Sunday, so we got there Saturday night. I was going to be there Sunday, Monday, come home Tuesday. Well, I ended up staying one more day. We got 3 best of shows in 3 days. And then I fucking hightailed it back to get to work.
Damn.
You know? And then that Sturgis changed my life as well, as far as the hamster thing and you know, just...
Have you been back every year since?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Sturgis till I die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mandatory. It's mandatory.
Right.
You know, I'm doing the ride to Sturgis that's the coolest part.
Yeah. That's a hamster ride you're talking about?
So yeah, every year they've been doing it for many years.
Yeah.
So there's a group that leaves Dublin, California, and they take a different, all like 2-lane roads. They try to do as little interstate as possible to Sturgis, right?
Okay.
And then there's a group of us that, so I'll trailer my bikes from here to Sturgis, leave them, put them in a guy's garage, jump on a bike, and me and a group of guys ride all the way out to the West Coast, meet up with those guys, and then we ride back.
Awesome.
So like, my wife and my daughter went this year. They were on their own bikes. And in 9 days, we did like 3,300 miles.
Damn.
So we're putting down miles and crossing state lines and getting to do all that. And for me, that's the trip.
Yeah.
Sturgis is about business and going to the bike shows and running around. Okay, that's
talking
cool.
to a million people, shaking a million hands.
No, not that, but you know what I mean. It's
no, that's like when you're at Sturgis.
That's your job.
You're seeing a million people.
Yeah, that's your job.
That's what you're doing.
You know, so, but that is the one time a year is like, all right, this is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
If I have the money to do this, even if I have to sell something, I'm doing this.
Right.
You know?
I'm assuming you said leaves out of Dublin. Do they meet at Ness's?
Yeah.
Ness is in Dublin, right?
Yep.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really fucking cool. What bike did you do that on? Or this past year?
I had a 2020 Road Glide. I just sold it.
Okay.
I'm looking to see if there's any pictures of it. There's pictures somewhere around here of that bike. But yeah, that 2020 Road Glide, I did that my first year. I did it on my bike Freebird, the Lowrider S you saw me. It didn't have a turbo on it then, but same motor. It's good shit. Next year I want to do it on an FXR though. Okay. Have you ever done it on an FXR? No, I haven't. Okay. No, I haven't. Cool, man. I really want to though. Cool. So I'm gonna do that FXR chopper, and I really, it'd be grueling. Yeah. To do, that kind of miles. It's kind of nice to have this big fairing and you could get a fairing on the FXR. Yeah. If I could shamelessly promote bare knuckle bags for that FXR. I don't know if you ever see those, the adventure bags that he sells? I haven't. Oh, dude, they're badass. I got them on my FXRs and my lowrider. They all detach. You just get different brackets, but the bags are quick detach on the same brackets. They're made by SW Motec, who does like the BMW bags. They're like aluminum. Oh, like pannier boxes. Bikes. Yeah, like panniers. Yeah. Right. Yeah, dude, those fucking spoil you. Once you go with those, you never look back, man. Yeah. I would hit them up for some of those. All right. But yeah, that's the shit, man. If you wanted a fucking hot rod FXR and you want to throw some bags on them, that's the setup. All right. Especially with the fucking price of like what FXR bags are going for now and stuff like that. I don't know because I just run Paul's shit on all my stuff. But I'd imagine that those boxes from Bare Knuckle are probably comparable to finding a set of fucking good original FXR boxes nowadays. Good luck. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, good luck. And you can just internet order Paul's. Yeah. Like, you don't got to search around for them, you know? But, I don't know how comparable the pricing is, but they're fucking awesome, dude. Okay.
I can imagine that on this bike. Like, send them to Dave and have him paint match this thing. It'd be fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
It'd be wild. But, yeah, I don't know. I would say shamelessly promote, but everyone, the whole fucking world knows that, like, they see me all over with those boxes,
Absolutely.
dude. I fucking love them. I really do love them.
Yes, sir.
They're the only part I tell people, like, I'm pretty cheap with parts. A lot of, you know, whatever. Who wants to pay a lot of money if they don't have to? But that is the only part in my life that I'd pay fucking double for.
Okay.
That's how much I like.
You like them that much?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. They're like,
Well,
are they worth it? I'm like, I'd pay double. That's what I tell everyone.
Last year was our first smoke out. You know, we did an FXR show called The Gathering.
Okay.
At the smoke out. I'd like to see your bike there next year. That'd be amazing. It's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Right? It's mid-September.
I could bring the poor man's R4.
Dude, I'm telling you. The Gucci R4, I'm with it. Yeah, we're renaming that. That's now the Gucci R4. Sorry.
Oh man, it's got like
we'll call it the R5. The R5. There you go.
R5, dude. The Gucci R5.
Yeah. So, but we had about 35 just for our first year, like killer FXRs.
Just FXRs.
Just FXRs.
Really?
Just FXRs. So we did it at the same time Perowitz did his paint show.
Okay.
Talk about a cool deal. And I don't know if you've ever been to Smoke Out, but they have it's in Salisbury, North Carolina. A lot of history there.
Yeah, I was
at the lot and all that old school. You know, that's where a lot of the TV bike builders came out of.
Yes, I was there when the horse ran it.
Okay.
I haven't been there. Was this the first or second year?
Second year for Cycle Source.
Yeah, I have not done it since Cycle Source took over.
Man, talk about a cool venue. You have, you know, every motorcycle genre there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's mostly choppers. Mostly older bikes, you know, and like me and a few other guys bringing the newer shit. They consider FXRs newer shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, and then they see like an M8 with a turbo. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know, but really, talk about a cool community of people that just don't care. They're just happy to see bikes, whatever they are, and, you know, interested to, you know, I'll be looking at, you know, somebody's bike, you know, getting inspired, look at those oil lines or whatever that I could use, you know, that information on mine. You know, everybody's doing that to
everyone's taking notes.
Well, that's what you do. You know, that's what's so cool about it, right?
Yeah.
But so much different than the you know, like say some of the West Coast bike shows where it's almost like you're clicked up. You know what I mean? Like the chopper guys don't want to talk to the bobber guys, who don't want to talk to the FXR guys, who don't want to talk to the bagger guys. You know, it's like, man, who gives a shit?
I hear that so much. Like, I've been to California a few times, and I've done the whole coast and all that shit on a few different trips, but I've always done them just like as my own little motorcycle trips. But I do hear that that's a reoccurring theme I hear at the shows in California particularly. It's very cliquey.
You know, which is weird.
Yeah, because we don't get that out here, or in the middle of the country for that matter either.
No, I haven't experienced that except at some of the, like, mostly Southern California shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why. That's just the culture. Whatever. You know, and that's how you want it. It's cool. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But it's just very different. You know? And Smoke is one of my favorite events of the whole year. So I just wanted to shamelessly plug, you know.
Yeah, do it, man. I love Chris and Heather also. Chris
and Heather.
I'll get out there one day, I promise.
Yeah, Chris and Heather are rock solid.
Yeah.
You know, and then, Smoke, the dirt drags, oh my God.
Yeah.
Bro, like.
That looked fun as hell. I saw it on Instagram.
You want to run your chopper or your
I'll run the Gucci R4.
Whatever you want to do, like, they're out there doing it. You know, same thing, like, another good one, Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival. Have you been there?
That's my favorite one. I don't miss that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I do not miss that one.
That is so fucking fun.
Yeah.
Were you at the Hill Climbs this year?
Yes. And that was the first time I was at the Hill Climbs.
I think it's the first time they did it.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I was there last year, and I don't remember them doing it.
Yeah, I don't ever remember doing it, but...
like, guys up there running on a Springer or a chopper or whatever the fuck. Like, I went to Laconia and I was like, oh, I can't wait to go to the hill climbs.
Yeah.
Expecting that. And I get there and it's actually like AMA, like,
it's like a proper event.
It's a proper event. There's guys with dirt bikes. I'm like, yeah, this ain't no fun. Yeah, they're screaming up the hill, but
it wasn't Tennessee.
It wasn't the guy on the Springer laying it down halfway up the hill, you know.
Yeah.
With the apes up to here, you know.
Yep.
So.
Or the fucking kid with no shirt on doing wheelies.
Yeah. Oh, that kid was a savage, bro.
That kid was so good.
That kid was a savage. Like.
Yep.
Man boobs and all. Like, he was just rocking it.
Oh, dude, the ladies were loving it.
Oh, dude, it was insane.
Yeah.
But those are two, you know, Sturgis, TMMR, Smokeout.
Yeah.
Those are, you know, awesome.
Yeah.
By the time you hear this, I probably already would have been on the High Seas Rally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an invited builder on that. You know, so I get to take my motorcycle on a cruise ship. Hey, that'll be cool.
Dude, that's so cool. I didn't realize that. I always thought they just had guys hanging out on that ship, but they have you bring bikes on there too.
Yeah. I'm going to bring
cool.
If you're a builder, you bring your bike. Not everybody brings their bike, obviously.
Okay.
But yeah, like, so we'll bring the bike, and it's just a 7-day party that gets to go all over the Caribbean or whatever.
Right.
So that'll be fun.
Are you... I don't know the ins and outs of it, but do you plan on like being part of Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival now that you're a resident of the state? Like, do you want to get involved and do your own thing there or something?
So
I don't know if that's too personal to ask.
No, it's not personal at all. Really, the answer is no.
Okay.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to support it.
You just want to be hanging out and having fun.
I want to, you know, if they want me to bring a bike, you know, I always bring bikes to show. You know, really. You know, Jeff Holt does his thing there, so like I want to support Jeff.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a buddy of mine, and I brought bikes to put in his show. But really, dude, I just like to go to have fun. Like, I don't want to set up a booth, and then be married to my booth, and you know, to sell T-shirts and shit like that. No, I'll let those guys do that. Like, you know, I'll be there to enjoy like floating in the river, riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know, watching cool ass bands and, you know, all the shit we do.
All the stuff you do. Yeah, all the things. Yeah.
I just want to be sometimes I just want to be a spectator.
Right. Like you said at Sturgis too. You just want to hang.
No, I just want to be out there. You know, I'll be promoting my brand.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. We promote what we do.
Right.
But in a different way. I'll do it with our bikes. You know, I'll have some. I'd love to have I think my chopper will be done by then. I'm trying to have my chopper done for the Donnie Smith show. So that's the end of March.
Cool.
So yeah, TMMR's in May. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to show my chopper there, but also ride the fuck out of it.
Right,
you know, right. So it'll be, you know, both worlds.
Cool. Hey, so when I got to your place today, Jeff was there and his wife Maggie. Can we set the record straight? Did you convince him to move to Tennessee? Could you take the credit for that?
I'm not going to take the credit for that at all. So Jeff had been coming to this town since they did the hot bike tour here.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Now I wasn't a part of it.
Is he the reason you found this place?
No.
Okay.
It's just a
coincidence. It's
a coincidence, right?
Okay.
So, I found this place. Just nobody told me about this place. My wife and I, on the way down to see Blue Ribbon Cycle, happened to stop here. We were coming through this town. It wasn't ever even on my radar. Never heard of Maryville, Tennessee.
It's just total coincidence.
And we just came here. It was like, dude, this place is really fucking cool. Like, this would be. We looked at it. We were like, yeah, this is the town. Just talking shit though.
Right.
Like, not serious.
Right.
Like, yeah, this would be cool, right? But like the same way you say. You know, when you go to Nassau, like, oh, this would be cool to live here, or wherever, you know what I mean? Just kind of, yeah, whatever. This would be cool to live here. And then we came back, and Jeff was doing, so we came back here, I want to say it was 2020. We signed the papers during V-Twin Visionary Week, October 8th, 2020. Right? So we came out here for his VTV weekend. We set up at the Harley dealer, put our bikes out. I came and signed papers on the building. We went back home to California and sold the shit. Then Jeff was like, dude, like, this is the place. I'm going to live here too.
Damn.
You know? And maybe I had an influence in that. Maybe I didn't. I have no idea.
Right.
But he'd already been coming here before, and it was just a cool coincidence. Then my wife, Janine, does real estate. So she sold them a piece of property. You know, they're building a house on it. And, you know, this is just a great place to, like, put down roots, if that makes, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
You know, and Jeff was just telling me, like, he's on the road. Like, fuck, I think I'm on the road, you know, and he's on the road way more than I am, but he's looking for a place to call home.
Right.
You know, and we have...
That's the other awesome part about Tennessee. 1,000 miles takes you almost anywhere, in any direction. It's really a great location.
I woke up in Cape Cod,
right,
and I drove straight through, and I was here. I slept in my own bed last night.
Right.
Same thing. I can be you know, I'll be in Florida in a day. I can be in Chicago in a day.
Yeah.
You know, Sturgis is a day and a half. It's like 1,300 miles.
Yep.
You know, so like you're right, 1,000 miles, you can be just about anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good place to be. There's some big brands moving here. Smith & Wesson just opened they moved from Massachusetts. And
I wanted to name another motorcycle guy, but I don't know if it was just total bullshit or not, but I do know for a fact he did personally tell me he is moving to East Tennessee. I think he's here already at the time I spoke to him, but Rusty Butcher.
Yeah, see, I wasn't going to blow that out of the water because I didn't know.
I just don't know where in Tennessee. He did personally tell me.
My wife's working with him to try and find him a place.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like in this area, Knoxville-ish area.
Well, you know, I'm not speaking on the man's business. You know what I mean? That's his deal.
That is...
But my wife has shown him properties in this area.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And he would be an amazing fit for this area, and he's a great guy, and, you know, all that shit. But, like, there's so much opportunity here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's been a long time favorite part of the country for me. I've been saying for fucking 15 years I'm going to be a Tennessee resident one day, but I've been here for...
They have trains in Tennessee.
I know. Well, I'm looking to get out of that business. But I've been here for like almost 3 weeks now, and this whole trip has been one of those trips that I think has completely changed the course of my life. So
wow, how so?
I think I want to move to Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just been a I don't know, a lot of special and coincidental things have happened.
Right on.
So I don't know, man. I think sooner than later.
Before we publish this, let's look at the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce or Tennessee Visitors Board and see if we can get some sponsorship money.
Right. The state of Tennessee better be paying me for this.
Yeah, right. But no, this is a magical place. I mean,
yeah,
it just is. I've had so much family who come to visit.
Yeah.
They go home and they put their house on the market because they're moving.
Right.
You know, this is, you know. The locals, a lot of them are very, very welcoming. And then, you know, every once in a while you hear that, fuck, man, these guys are driving up the house prices and, you know, that kind of thing. But,
dude, that is what it is.
Well, find a place.
I can't listen to the haters.
No, find a place in the country that the house prices haven't been driven up.
Exactly.
You won't want to live there.
Dude, I'm in New York, and they say fucking how many thousands of people every day are leaving, and the fucking house prices still keep going up.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Yeah,
I don't
get that.
House prices are going up everywhere. Real estate's one of the best investments you can make.
Yep.
It's traditionally never fucking went down for very long. It always shoots right back up. It's just...
You can't go wrong with real estate.
You can't, especially land, dude. Like they say, they're not making it anymore.
Amen.
You know, like just buy. I would buy as much fucking real estate as I possibly could. I wish I could afford more. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
fucking. I'm not listening to those people.
No,
it's their problem. Buy a house. What do you want from me?
Here's a funny,
you know, like I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Here's a funny story, real quick.
Yeah,
and then we'll get off that. So
yeah,
the politics in this area is fairly conservative, you know, and I don't want to get into politics, whatever, you know. But you'll hear sometimes like, hey, oh, you're from California, we don't want your politics here, that kind of thing, right? And at first I was kind of defensive, like, oh no, like, look, I actually know about like what crazy liberal policies do to like homeless populations and like I've seen this firsthand. There's a good chance I'm probably a little more conservative than you are because you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You've never seen it firsthand. There's no way you can conceptualize what that's like, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're from New York.
Well, New York and California are public enemy number one.
Exactly.
You know,
right? So, but what I'm saying is, you've seen that firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that really is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, and I hope I'm not offending anybody from Tennessee, but if you've been born and raised here and you've never left, you don't know how good this place is.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no perspective
The
there.
perspective,
Right?
yeah.
So I get a little defensive.
I don't think that's offensive to say.
I get a little defensive and be like, no, man, you know, what the fuck? Like, that's not who I am.
Right.
Then I started like playing the other route. I told this guy, he come in, he said that shit, and I was like, you
really
know.
Fire people up.
I was like, man, but Newsom paid me $50,000 to move here. As long as I promise to vote Democrat and take away your guns. Oh man, that guy got heated. That was fun. Anyway.
Oh man.
So
that's one thing that kills me is like California, New York, you'll get this. Anywhere else you go, as soon as you say that's where you're from, they immediately fucking put you in this box and you're like, oh my God, dude, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know? But whatever, it is what it is.
Whatever.
It is what it is.
But it's just fun to troll them now.
Yeah.
You know? So,
I'm going to start telling people that.
Yeah, right? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot of cool shit at the shop. I'm so blessed to have a staff that is, I mean.
They seem cool as hell, man.
Dude.
Like, after work, everyone's just hanging out. Like, we were all just hanging out. Like, everyone's like a big happy family there, man.
You know, we have our moments like anybody, but really, I told you, starting this shop, you know, I was able to like, okay, what do I want? What's important? Like, really harmony and shop culture, right? Like, there's a lot of ways to make money. And if you're in the motorcycle business, there's a good chance none of us are getting rich doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you might do okay. I do okay. Obviously,
you could do okay, but nobody's getting rich.
You know, I can afford to buy this, build this, but I didn't have health insurance for the last 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's just bad priorities. Right? That's just bad priorities. So I bought this, I built this instead of health insurance.
Yeah.
But so the idea was, okay, if I'm going to have employees who want to come to work, you know, obviously they want to come to motorcycles because they love motorcycles. Let's make it so they can still love motorcycles. They know this job doesn't just become a shitty fucking job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of it is just, it's hard work. It's not easy, you know.
Yeah. It could be shitty real fast.
It can be very stressful and all that stuff. So my thought was, okay, well, shop culture is very important. I want everybody here, you know, like, and I stress that to everybody. It's like, hey, look, we can all have a bad day, but like, we choose to be here. This is going to be something that like we all treat each other with respect. You know, I had a customer or an employee issue this morning. He had a you know, I won't get into what it was, but he had an issue with some of the social media posts, right? I think it's fucking the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah.
But you know what the stupidest thing I could ever do is tell that guy, hey, what you're feeling right now is fucking stupid.
Right.
That's dumb. Like, I'm not going to do that. John 10 years ago, 15 years ago, would have been like, fuck you, you know what I mean? right? No, like, I want to
you gotta navigate those waters, like...
Yeah, I want to listen to my guys.
Yeah.
I want to, like, just because I don't agree with him doesn't mean he doesn't have a right to have his opinion.
Right.
And I'm gonna listen to it and make some adjustments.
Right.
Because that guy's more important than my feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of culture I want in my shop where you know, everybody wants to be there.
Did you find that was harder to cultivate in California?
I'm going to tell you this. In California, it's just more difficult because of the economics in California.
Okay.
My employees in Tennessee can afford to own a home. They can afford to have a decent bike. You know, they're living a life. They're raising their families. They're doing the things that we as Americans do.
Right.
In California, it's harder because You know, it's just the economics. Like, it costs so much money to live.
Right.
You know, and all that. So, you know, you have, you know, it's my brother, and we got a ace mechanic Wyatt, and my, you know, Jim. So we got 3 guys there, you know, and it's our you know, we can't do performance parts in California. You can't install exhaust.
Right.
There's so many things tying our hands there that it's just more difficult. And then when I started the shop in California, I was a kid. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, we're just going as we go, and things evolve naturally. So
right.
That was one really nice thing about starting Tennessee, is actually like, okay, here I've done this before. What are the good things I've done? What are the things that, like, hey, I should never do that again?
Right.
Right? And really trying to implement those lessons into a new shop on a clean slate. If that makes, you know, that.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
I mean, just with whatever you do in business, I would imagine if, like, so you've been in the motorcycle business your whole life. I'd imagine if you said you wanted to go into the fucking, like, I don't know, you wanted to go into the construction business, or you wanted to fucking open laundromats. Like, I'd imagine no matter what you picked, it would be easier just having 20 years of experience in business.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But like motorcycles just makes it even easier.
Yeah, no,
like,
this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's just I'm older and wiser. That's
right.
it. You know
right.
what I mean? And that's what happens.
Right.
If we're lucky.
Right.
But you know, no, shop. So getting back to that, shop culture is very important.
Yeah.
You know, we just, you know, rolled out a deal that, you know, when you work for me, I make your bike payment. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do for our people.
Really?
Right? So you can buy a bike from us.
That's the coolest company car ever.
Dude, you can buy a bike from us. You have to finance it in your name.
Right.
Right? And then as long as you're working for me, I make the bike payment.
That's awesome.
I'll say that publicly. I'm looking for a killer service writer. You know what I mean? So if someone's a straight killer with that service writer position,
okay,
and they want it, come on, let's do it.
You never know who's watching, man.
You never know. So, but it's things like that, right? I'm investing in my guys.
Yep.
Right? So that I strive to be the best aftermarket shop in the country. You can't put a metric on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how do you measure that?
Right.
But that's what we're striving for, right?
Right.
Like, Tony and Ramjet, he's fucking a stud.
Fucking
the organization there, there's stuff he does there that's way better than me.
Right. He's a beast.
You know, Tucker Speed, those guys are, you know, there's a lot of really good shops in the country.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But you have to wake up every day, no matter what you do, and try to be the best.
That's what I mean.
Like, you have to.
You know, it's an unmeasurable, unattainable goal, but that's what we strive for.
Right.
Like, every day, you know, we'll have our morning meeting at least once a week. We're like, okay, the goal here is to be the best at what we do.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not the discount bike shop. We're not the, hey, let's slash prices. We don't do that. Like,
right.
You know, most of the time we're more expensive than the Harley dealer because we're specializing. We're treating that bike like it's our own. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're trying to do everything we can to make sure that customer's experience is the best.
Right.
You know? And because of things like that bike program, because we purposely try and strive for harmony in the shop.
3 dogs that greet you at the door.
3 dogs that greet you in the door. Like, we have a morning meeting every morning.
That's the best business move ever.
Yeah, dude, right? We have a morning meeting every morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where we can talk
to create unity or air out your problems.
You know, it sounds like cheesy as fuck, and you know, I never thought I'd ever do that. And I stopped at Brian Clock's place on the way to Sturgis, and like, he has 30 employees, and they're taking 30 minutes to this morning meeting. Damn. And Brian tells me, like, it's one of the smartest things I've ever done. So he's paying 30 people to stand around for 30 minutes and talk.
Totally worth it, though.
That's 15 hours of labor gone. That costs him money every day 15 times 5.
Thousands of dollars.
That's 75 hours a week.
Damn.
Taken off the board, and he says, best money I can spend, right? So we do a little morning meeting. There's a few of us, so it doesn't take as long, right? But it's a time for us to talk about shit in the shop, or hey, I got this in my personal life, or whatever it is.
Right.
But just to constantly try and get that shop culture and that harmony, and that, hey, look, if you work at Dream Rides, you're not just a cog in a wheel. Like,
right.
I'm not interested in that. Like, you made a choice to be here. You made a choice that you want to be part of the motorcycle industry. You want to work in the motorcycle industry. You want to do something you love for a living. I take that as my responsibility to provide an environment in which you can love what you do.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's a rare thing in this business. Like,
I mean,
that's pretty awesome.
That's what we're striving to do. My buddy, one of my good buddies in the motorcycle industry, he does that same program with his employees as far as the bikes go.
Okay.
And he turned me onto it. He's like, dude, this is the smartest thing I could ever do. Like, my employees are riding newer bikes. They're super stoked about it. They tell their customers, hey, check out my bike.
Right.
That has these cool parts on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just works. It's good business.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah, it really, it makes things so much more relatable between the customer and the tech and all that. Yeah.
And how do you want to work in a bike shop and not have a fucking bike?
Right.
Right? Or your bike's fucking clapped out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is probably the most common case.
Yeah.
It's like, the shoemaker wearing the shittiest shoes kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to do that, I consider reinvesting in my business. You know what I mean? Like, that is a little bit different and a little bit off the wall. I know, I guess we probably should have been talking about bike builds, and we ended up on this whole business thing, but like,
I joke sometimes before podcasts. I'm like, I don't even care if we talk about motorcycles.
Yeah, but
let's just have a conversation,
But it's all, for me,
so it's all good.
I'm as passionate about that as I am about this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what makes you one of these few guys that I'm talking about that pulls it all off, that can build the bike and build a business. Like, it's a rare combo that someone's a good businessman and a good bike guy. Yeah. You're usually one or the other. But there's a good handful of guys in the country that really do pull it all off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're one of them.
Well, thank you.
And that's why we're all over the map with this conversation.
Yeah.
No,
but I try and have as much passion there, and motorcycles have been so good to me between all the relationships, and I'm able to provide for my family with this, and I get to travel, and I get to do all these fucking things that people dream about.
Yeah.
So for me, it's with the employees, with the guys who work for me. They're the ones making all this shit possible.
Right.
100%. Like, I'm the name on the brand, and it's John Jessup and this and that. But really, when it comes down to it, without all these people rowing the same direction, I ain't shit.
Right.
So I try and keep that in perspective.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way to end it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I think.
Yeah. Hey.
I feel like I feel like this is, well, I don't even feel, I know this is going to be one of those podcasts. As soon as I end it, I'm going to look around these walls and be like, fuck, I should have asked him about that. Shit, I should have asked him about that.
Well, you want to take it?
It is what it is, man.
No, you're good.
We could do part 2 next year or something.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But let's end it there, man.
Here, Janine is a real estate. For anybody listening who wants to move to East Tennessee, my wife is a real estate agent. She will get you hooked up.
Yeah.
And Rob here is going to be looking for a house in East Tennessee soon.
That's it,
so
man.
there you go. Rusty Butcher, we got Rusty Butcher, we got Beecher Fisher, we got Rob.
That's it.
Who else can we finagle out here?
That's all we need, man. Everyone else, come on down.
Create like the motorcycle industry, like Sturgis number 2 here.
Dude, I kind of wanted to mention that. I guess fuck it. If we're going to say that, I wanted to kind of ask you that. Like, is that something that you envision to possibly create, like a hotbed down in this area almost? Well, like how NASCAR has North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, could you think this could be the next epicenter hotbed for motorcycles?
So my prediction is this. We're in the middle of Smoky Mountain Bike Week.
Mm-hmm.
The very first ever Smoky Mountain Bike Week, right? Mm-hmm. Well, this time of year, for as far as bike rallies go, you have this, which is a brand new rally, and then you have Biketoberfest in Daytona. Right? I think there's maybe Panama City. I don't remember when that is, but whatever. There's no riding in Daytona. Everybody goes to Daytona in the spring because it's Daytona.
Right.
It's been going on forever, and nothing's ever going to change that. But as far as a fall-time rally, like, this has all the coolest riding in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially in the fall.
We have that, which is going to bring industry here, right? They're already here. All these big diesel trucks. We got Vance & Hines. We got S&S. We got all these big brands here. Well, what happened when you came here for 3 weeks and you spent some time?
I'm gonna move.
It changed your life. You want to move here, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I came here. I was like, holy shit, I want to move here.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jeff. Hopefully Mark from, Rusty Butcher.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes over here.
So you think the ball's going to keep rolling over the next couple of years, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, who gives a shit?
Right.
But I think I can tell you that, I'm actively promoting our area because I love it here and I want my friends to be close to me. I'm selfish. Many people, motorcycle industry, because this is our family. This is like the road family, right?
Yeah.
We hang out with the same people, whether we're in Sturgis or Daytona or all these different Laconia, wherever we're at, all these different rallies across the country, we see all the same people.
Yeah.
If I can get them all to live here, then I'm all about it. But anyway.
Chris Callan's next.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're working on Chris and Heather. 100%.
Yeah.
That's a tough deal, but
the smokeout's close enough. Just from the East Tennessee.
He's more centrally located. There's less snow.
Yep.
Yeah, so Chris and Heather, we're coming after you. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, this is whether it's a hotbed or not.
Yeah,
it already is a motorcycling hotbed. Like, people come from all over the world to ride motorcycles here.
Right.
Yeah.
You
have we have an aftermarket shop here who's pushing extremely hard to promote our version of what custom bikes are. Right. Harley does a decent job for what a Harley dealer can do. They're kind of in their own little bracket over there.
Right.
But man, there's some other cool shops like Burnout Cycle down in Chattanooga. They're killing it. Actually, they're in Ringgold, Georgia now.
Okay.
But yeah, we have some other cool aftermarket shops and let's see what happens, man. Yeah. As people travel here, it's just a natural, man. Like, you come here and you start looking like, oh, I can live in a nice house. I can make good money. And I can ride like most of the year. Yeah. Probably 10 months out of the year we can ride.
Yeah. Yeah, the riding, I don't know, for me, everything about it makes sense too. And like you said, we're lucky that, in a sense, lucky California and New York real estate is worth a lot more than other parts of the country for the most part. So your money goes a lot further when you make the move,
Absolutely. You're set
hopefully
up
you got
well.
a couple bucks left in your pocket and all that,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Either way, come on down. Hopefully it'll be like in years to come, like how Joe Rogan talks about Austin. Like, shh, don't tell anyone. We have enough people. Hopefully Tennessee.
All the locals are already doing that. Let me tell you, they're like, all right, enough of this shit.
Right.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Actually, most locals are cool. It is kind of an unfair disadvantage when we're coming in here with a different economic scale.
Yeah.
And you're born and raised here.
Right.
And a house that you used to be able to buy and now all of a sudden you can't buy it anymore. I could see how that would have some negative sentiment.
For sure, man. And also the landscape, like Tennessee is one of those like big construction booms, man. Like you know, when you live in a fucking place that all of a sudden, you know, has a zillion strip malls and fucking housing developments everywhere, and you're like, this isn't the place that I used to love anymore. But it's such a changing environment, you know. I don't blame a lot of these people for not being too thrilled about it.
But I can also tell you, I don't care where you go in the country.
Oh, it's going on everywhere.
You know, it's just you know, the people in the 20s, you know, who came back to their town in the 50s were pissed.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just how this works, man.
That's how it goes.
You know, like, you know, sorry.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's funny, man. When I was in my young 20s, I actually kind of predicted it. I used to tell people, it's inevitable with like the direction the world is going and population boom. The coastal cities are going to bleed to the middle of the country, man. And it's happening. It's been going on for fucking 10 years now, really. COVID fucking supercharged it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the bottom line is like places like Nashville and Austin, Texas, those places have been going for 10 to 15 years in a construction boom.
Yeah.
With fucking cranes everywhere, and you know, it's nothing really new. It's just COVID really supercharged it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
But anyways, man, I don't want to keep getting in the weeds and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
eventually we should end it, man. I'm not Joe Rogan yet.
Let's be done.
You want to just tell people where to reach you?
Yeah,
social medias, telephone numbers, whatever you want.
Probably easiest way is social media. We're on Instagram, DreamRides CA, and then DreamRides of Tennessee. DreamRides.com. My personal is DreamRides John. All you gotta do is put in DreamRides.
Right.
And there's probably, you know, between all the employees, like all my employees are super stoked. Like they'll put like DreamRides Jesse or, you know, whatever on there.
I noticed that.
You know, that's all. That's not because I ask anybody to do that. That's them.
Okay.
Like, they're more than welcome to do that. You know, and they're proud that they work at DreamRides, which I could not be happier about. Right. So if you go there, you can follow half a dozen accounts or a dozen accounts of DreamRides and see us there. You know, really the best thing is come to East Tennessee and come check us out and come, let's ride some motorcycles.
Hell yeah, man. I was going to say something else, but I don't want the show to keep running on. After the show, I'll ask about it. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you next week. And John, thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for the invite to your personal cave, man.
Yes, sir.
It's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
See you guys next week.